Hi again, my name is Mauricio Neuber, an associate professor, University of Brasilia, Brazil. Today, I would like to speak a little more about my book, Hypnosis in the Realm of Design. And now the chapter 4, Thinking and Doing. This chapter is important, especially for people who works with therapy, because of course I think all therapists consider how to solve problems, how to search efficacy, to search symptoms, to solve symptoms and other psychological problems. But what can we speak, or what can we consider more beyond this? Yes, there is a necessity, but in our perspective, hypnosis is one of the most interesting and valuable tools to understand the human soul, to understand the profound process that are present in ourselves. And so the question of efficacy is one element inside a broad question, and which is also a profound question named by Farouk Saif as effectiveness, which it's not only a transformation of a symptom or a behavior, but a transformation of the subject himself or herself in terms of an integration, a kind of reconciliation with himself or herself. And this is extremely important. For example, the great existential therapist Ludwig Binswanger in 1935 wrote a very beautiful text named About Psychotherapy or On Psychotherapy, in which he tried to explain to his students why psychotherapies work. And his conclusion is psychotherapies work because it makes a process of self-reconciliation. And in our perspective, based on Farouk Saif's ideas, it's a kind of religare, a kind of reconnection or reconciliation with oneself. And in this sense, when we are speaking on this, people can ask if this kind of work based on design is really useful, or is it useless. And we can say in some way it's useless, but it's like poetry, it's like aesthetics, arts, music. They produce nothing, but we cannot do something, anything, without them, without beauty, without aesthetic. In this sense, when we speak on an inquiry process in an imaginative work, we are speaking on a form of investigation on this deep process of self-integration, named as effectiveness. What a hypnotic process leads person, bring them, promote on their lives. In the sense, theory and practice are not opposite things, but they are together, because a good form of thinking is very practical, and each practical is also a good form of thinking, because it works with thirdness, as a systematician would say. This is the first transcendence we can consider through design in terms of thinking and doing. But we can think a little more. For example, autonomy. Autonomy is extremely important, and I believe all therapists consider autonomy as an important criterion to consider a good therapeutic process. But autonomy considering what? We are not entirely autonomous in our lives, but we can establish significant forms of reintegration with all things that determine our lives. And this can be done not only in a conscious level by deliberation, but mainly in our deep levels, in which different modes of connection can lead us to dancing, to navigating in this very deep and sometimes strong waters of our unconscious process. Beyond autonomy, we can consider also belongings, or as the beautiful Greek expression, ethos. Ethos is considering from this etymology, which are two great branches. The first of them is a moral action, attitude, habits. But the second means home, our home. And if you think in a cosmic home, we're thinking, who are we in terms of existential space? Who are we in terms of our social belongings, ancestral belongings? And as a therapist tradition belongings. In this sense, ethos is essential as a mode of self-recognition and a self-connection with these traditions that are collective but are lived in ourselves. And they are essential because they can help us to find directions and reference toward the future. And concerning the question, what do I want from my life? Which are my desires? Then we have a new criterion to consider in this process of effectiveness, which means teleology, from the Greek telos, far, and logos, knowledge, wisdom. But teleology can be conceived as which are the things in our lives that are really important, worthwhile, that can move our attention and our affections and our efforts. Teleology so proposed an existential perspective, an existential desire, which is projected in the future, but is also present in every day of our lives. It's not a concrete goal, but it's a feeling, a sense, a subjective sense that can direct our lives and allowing the emergence of intentionality. In this sense, all therapists can also question concerning teleology in their own professional trajectories. Because all great therapists, and I don't mean famous, but many anonymous therapists who are great also, always will speak unimportant things. I am grateful for my patients, my clients, because they had helped me to look to my trajectory and be grateful with the life. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.